Hi guys, welcome to the mat today. I want to take you through a beginner's yoga flow, as I think it can be quite daunting sometimes to get into yoga, and it really doesn't need to be. I want you to park the idea of thinking about how flexible you are, wanting to touch your toes, thinking how much it hurts when you do yoga or when you stretch, and really just be compassionate with yourself and sit with where you are right now, knowing that these people that have practiced yoga and the people that you are seeing that seem to do it with ease, a lot of it isn't necessarily as easy as it looks, and as you know, and also a lot of these people have been practicing for years and years and years and years, and that just takes time. I remember going to my first proper yoga classes in New York and looking around, and there was, you know, much older people that were, and I was supposed to be this kind of physically fit, athletic girl, and I was in so much agony and so much pain. Things like pigeon pose were just a nightmare for me. So don't worry, you're not alone if it does feel not comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable for a while, but I really want you to see if you can find that peace and compassion with yourself to breathe through whatever it is you're working with. That's where the magic starts, and when we start to take the idea of flexibility out of it and really trying to connect in with the breath and just becoming conscious of how we're moving in our body, that is when we start to find the gold at the end of the rainbow. So I would strongly suggest you grabbing blocks. You can even have multiple blocks. If you have these blocks, great. If you don't, you can use books. Just try and get some that are the same size, as that's really going to help you with a few of the movements today. I'm going to take the flow nice and slowly. I want you to take it at your own pace, and I'm going to show you child's pose in just a moment, and that is your option to go to that whenever you need to. Again, that's about finding that balance between pushing and needing to get to these hard, painful spaces when actually you probably don't need to, and your body would find it more nourishing if you just take the time to breathe it out when you need to, and just slowly but surely they'll start to feel better, I promise you. Okay, so let's start in our child's pose. Just place the blocks to the side where you can grab them in a moment. You're going to bring your knees wide apart and your heels together, and then just start to reach your arms forward and just breathe here. So this is our kind of safe space. You come back to whenever you need to. If it gets too much on the shoulders, if it feels too much in general, just take this position, come back to it. Or you can sit upright, which might feel more restful. Just do what you need to do. But for the moment, let's breathe here. So inhale, breathe in through the nose. And exhale, breathe out through the nose. I'm going to take a few rounds like that, just breathing in through the nose, expand the lungs, expand the ribs, expand the belly, and exhale out the nose. We're going to slow our breathing right down as much as we can. So inhale, exhale, as much as you can. We're focusing on breathing in and out through the nose through the whole practice. When it gets a little tougher, that might be harder to do. But that is going to help you be focused and present in your practice, which is the most important part of what we do in our yoga practice. So you can take that off of the mat elsewhere when we need it, just through a few breaths, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, you start to take your hands to the right hand side of your mat. You can just start to breathe again into the space on the side of the body. Perhaps yours doesn't look anything like mine, that's okay. Our bodies are all so different. Just breathe. You can even shift slightly into the left side to feel a bit more of a stretch here. Inhaling, exhaling. Walk your hands to the opposite side of the mat. Okay, walk your hands back through center, and then we're going to come to all fours. So wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. We're going to take a few rounds of our cat-cow. So from here, we lift our chest, squeeze your shoulders, and let your tailbone lift. And then exhale, we're going to dome the back and let the shoulder blades come apart as much as you can. So really push, push, push. Inhale. And exhale. If you're not used to moving the spine like that, it might feel quite hard to really segment these different parts of that movement. So just take your time with it. See if you can close your eyes and really connect to the spine. Exhale, dome. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Two more times. Okay, come back through center. If you have blocks, I want you to take them. It's going to help with our hip range. You're going to just place the blocks just so they're horizontal with each other underneath your shoulders. And then from here, just take your right leg behind you. And then you're going to push through those arms like we did in our cat-cow a moment ago. Let the shoulders come apart. Inhale. And then exhale, bring your knee to your nose here. Don't worry if your hands need to come up a little bit, that's totally fine. You're going to slowly place the right foot between the blocks, and then you're going to lift up into what we call a low lunge here. So just breathe. Let your left pelvis be forward and your ribs be in. We're going to get into the side of the spine here, so just let your right hand come down towards the right hand side, and just lean towards your right whilst keeping that pelvis forward. And just breathe into that space. So if I was looking towards you, I'd look a bit more like this. You can let your hand come to your ribs and just let the elbow ease down as you find space here. Can you come back to that breath? Good, come back through center. Lift the arms. You're going to place the hands back onto the blocks or to your mat as you step back into all fours. I'm going to do it on the other side. So slowly extend the left leg behind you. Inhale there, dome your upper back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step through. Lift the arms. Stay there for a moment. My ribs are in towards my spine, my pelvis tucked under. Let the left hand come down to the mat as the right arm reaches. You see I'm still quite far away from the ground though. Left hand to ribs. If that worked for you last time, you're going to gravitate the elbow down towards your hip. And breathe. Come slowly back through center. Now take your hands back down to your blocks. We're going to bring that left foot back, come into all fours, and you're just going to place the blocks to the side for now. Just come into a thread the needle here. So you're going to keep your hips where they are. As you inhale, the left arm lifts to the sky. Then just let your left arm thread underneath. Let the shoulder come to the ground as the right arm comes forward. And just breathe space there. If you feel like you have a little bit more space, you can travel it to the left side, but just focus on breathing. We have a habit of holding our breath when we feel tightness. We want to do the opposite of that. Take your right hand back underneath your shoulder. Left hand back underneath. We'll take the other side so the right arm reaches. Thread the arm through, shoulder on the mat. So you let your left hand come forward. Perhaps it stays there, or you can take it to the right. Can you focus your breath towards your belly, around the lungs? So nice, guys. Take the left hand back underneath. Come all the way into all fours. Now we're going to work our way into our down dog, the famous down dog. Now I want you to really focus on your chest coming to your thighs, which will require your knees to bend, particularly if you're new to this. So just slowly shifting your hips up to the sky, but keep your chest towards your thighs. Let your neck be heavy and loose. Now eventually you can start to straighten the legs a little bit, but what some people find is that takes it into more of an arc shape of the body. We want to keep that spine straight, so if you need to, keep that knee, a little bend in the knee. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out. Now that already might feel a lot for you. It's okay to put your knees down, have a child's pose. Slowly work into this endurance here. It becomes better in time, but that has to take time to get to that point, so don't be worried if you need to put your knees down or if this doesn't feel super chill. It's not supposed to, don't worry. Shoulders up by your ears. Start slowly walking your hands back towards your feet at the back of the mat. This is our forward fold position, and you want to keep your knees a little bit bent here. So think about chest to thighs, rather than if you're up here and you're reaching forward, rather again see that tailbone shifting and lifting towards the sky. So let your head be heavy and loose here. And then interlace your elbows. And then shift from the hips as you come left, right. Let that neck be heavy. And then slowly just allow yourself to come one side. Breathe here. And then we'll come the other side. Slowly back through center. Start to walk your hands out into a plank position here. So if you need to, you can extend the legs. In plank, our pelvis is tucked under and I'm doming the upper back. We're going to let the knees come down to the ground here as we practice our half push-up position. So let your elbows come backwards. Let them scrape along the sides of your torso. We're going to release all the way down to the mat. And then we're going to come into a baby cobra. So the elbows back. Squeeze the whole of the back body here. So squeeze shoulders, squeeze glutes. Then push back into your child's pose. Breathe in your child's pose. Now from there, if you did have blocks, you're going to place your hands on blocks again. We're going to come from down dog, so just make sure you feel comfortable doing that with your hands on your blocks. It will help with the step through, but if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel the blocks are moving a bit too much for you, that's fine, but they should be okay. Take your hands into all fours. Even if you don't use the blocks, we're in all fours. And then again, tailbone will lift to the sky. Chest to thighs. And you can take any little movements that feels a little bit different in the back body if you have those blocks. Think about lengthening through the back body, but also lifting the tailbone. Now from here, just take an inhale and lift your right leg to the sky, but we're going to keep the hips facing downwards. So they'll want to flare open. See if you can keep them facing the ground. Take an inhale there. And then exhale, bring your right knee to your nose, dome your back, and then try to step your foot through. If it comes to around halfway, you can just use your hand to get it a little bit higher. You can do that whenever you need to. As you inhale, lift into a high lunge. If that feels quite wobbly, you can go a little bit wider with the stance. Check in with your breath here. Keep the pelvis tucked under and the right knee trekking out to the side. So your knee might want to come into the center. Shift it out. Breathe here. We're going to challenge our balance a little bit here. We'll do what we did earlier. Right hand towards the ground as you take your left arm over the top. Breathe here. Lots of energy through that back left line of the body. All the way through the heel. If you enjoyed it last time, you can take your hand to your rib and just let your elbow come down towards your hip. Slowly work back through center, reach the arm. As you take your hands down towards the mat, we're going to step back this time to down dog. So right leg steps back again, you can help it. If it doesn't go so smoothly, that's fine. It will come in practice, I promise you. Breathe. Got a yoga practice for a reason, not a yoga perfect. It's always time to practice. and always see results. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Left leg to the sky on the inhale. Left knee to nose as we step forward. Help it through as much as you need to. Now lift all the way up on the inhale, ribs to spine. Some energy through that back leg. So I'm not flaring out into a back bend here. I'm keeping the ribs engaged. Left hand down as the right arm comes across. Right pelvis is underneath. If you liked it on the other side, take your hands, the ribs, and then slowly let your elbow come towards the left hip. Come back through center, reach the arms. Bring your hands to the mat. This time just step back into your plank. And then we're going to release the knees down from here. And then just come to sit upright for a moment. Just let the breath settle. Breathing in, out through the nose. You're going to place the blocks to the side. And we're just going to take it a little slower now. So just starting to take your hips to the ground. And then you're going to slowly start to lower yourself all the way onto your back. And then hug your knees towards your chest. You can take little knee rolls here, one way, the other way. We're going to take a figure four stretch here, which is a laying down version of pigeon pose, which you will eventually learn a bit more about in yoga. Or maybe you've done it and you don't like it. This is a nice option. So right ankle comes towards the left knee. Keep that foot flexed. And then you're going to reach between the holes, so you can take your hamstring or you can take your shin, but you mainly want to think about being able to release the head and shoulders back. Let the right knee track outwards, so you're opening space around the outer hips. Breathing. Nice, guys. Slowly release. I'm going to go to the other side. Don't worry if this feels not particularly comfortable. We always want to feel that we're stretching a little bit here. So you're just breathing into those spaces that feel discomfort. And try and decipher whether that is some sort of pain or is it just because you're stretching into perhaps a more tightened muscle. Can you breathe as you lengthen it? Can you find peace and comfort in the discomfort? As long as it's not any sort of real pain, you're safe. Slowly start to bring the knees back through center. You're going to finish here with a spinal twist. So let your left leg come out in front of you. You're going to slowly start to channel your right knee over to the left side. Please don't worry if it doesn't go anywhere near the ground. Mine doesn't either. Let your shoulder be on the ground. That's much more important as you let the right arm extend out to the side. And you're going to breathe. You could even, if you wanted to, place a block for support underneath that knee, but it's not entirely necessary. You're looking towards the right side as you breathe in and out. You really open that beautiful space around the spine here. Come back through center. You can of course take these stretches longer if you have more time. For the purpose of today, we're going to take the right leg forward, left side over to the right. Again, the grounding is of the shoulder on the opposite side. And breathe. Don't worry if your knee is like up here. It comes as we start to nourish the body with a breath. Can you find stillness? Just being present in the moment, not needing to be anywhere, go anywhere, do anything. We're going to take those thoughts with us as we come back through center. Release the chest. And we're setting into our final resting pose, which is our Shavasana. So you're just going to bring your legs out in front of you and take your time to make yourself feel comfortable. If that doesn't feel comfortable in your lower back, you can always bring your legs up to support the lower back. Some people like blocks under the knees. But wherever you are, find your source of support on the mat beneath you. And you take a big deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And from here, you're going to start to let yourself soften into our relaxation portion of the class. We're going to be here for a few minutes. So not needing to do anything, be anywhere. Allow each part of your body to soften. Allow your breath to return to its normal state. Surrender. Very often we find we like to self-criticize. We like to judge what we look like or what we're doing or what we've done. But rarely is that a source of use for ourselves and our personal development. So after this practice, can you come from a place of self-compassion? Knowing that you did everything that you possibly could, meeting your mind and your body where it is right now, and knowing that you're exactly where you need to be. With patience, with practice, but most of all with compassion, we find that sweet spot where we can breathe into movements. We can find space, we can find focus, and the ability to be present in the moment. But it's forever a work in progress. We come back to the mat every time to help and assist with that. Be different every single time you come to the mat, and that is just life. That is perfectly normal. So having that compassion with ourselves, to be where we are, knowing that we're exactly where we need to be, and we are more than enough. Gently start to wiggle your fingers and toes here. And you're going to gently roll your head from left to right. Any stretches that feel nice, that can be a big stretch to the toes. But eventually you're going to bring your knees towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze of the knees. And you can roll over to whichever side feels nicer for you to do so. That could be your left or right. But just use your head on your arm as a little pillow. We're going to be in this fetal position a few moments longer. Of course, if you have more time, you can stay here for longer than this. Otherwise, if you're finishing practice for me, you're going to take your hand towards the floor as you slowly bring yourself up, cross the legs, whatever feels comfy for you. Shoulders relax. You'll by breathing together. Just take a deep inhale through your nose. And just sigh, let go whatever you need to out through the mouth. One more. And sigh. Breath to your heart center. Wonderful work today, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Together we say namaste. Namaste, you guys. Please let me know if you've got any questions, and know that this becomes easier each time you do it. Whenever you're taking any flow, following any direction, it is always down to you. It's not your teacher judging you. It's no one else judging you. You don't need to judge yourself. Just be compassionate and it will come, I promise you. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again soon.